What's going on, everybody? Baxter here with another deck profile for you. This deck came from Crimson Invasion. Well, the main attacker came from Crimson Invasion. You guys might be like, what the heck? Buzzwole? No, because that's like the only one that everybody's using from Crimson Invasion. No, I have got Alolan Golem, the Pokemon that said, hey, nothing could be done with that Pokemon. There's no way you can use that. Let me tell you, Alolan Golem, say that 5 times fast. It's no joke. So let me just show you this deck. I'm like, make my stacks real fast. You guys know I like to do that. I like to go through the stacks and then break it down that way. So got a little bit of Ultra Prism in here, a little bit of Crimson, a little bit of everything in this deck. Let's just jump right into it. So, Alolan Golem. We'll start out, we run 3 copies of Alolan Geodude. 70 HP. That's the only real reason, guys, I picked it, and for its first attack, Rock Polish. During your next turn, this Pokemon has no retreat cost. Notice it's the blurred out symbol, which simply means the attack doesn't cost anything. The other Alolan Geodude is 60 HP, which can very easily be one-shotted. Not 70, though. 70 seems to be that weird number that's difficult to hit on the first turn. So, 3 copies of Alolan Geodude, which brings us to 2 copies of Alolan Graveler. We're really not even paying attention to Alolan Graveler's attacks. I mean, he's 110 HP, Thunder Punch for a Lightning, and a DCE 50 plus. For the coin of heads, it does 20 damage. More damage if his tail is 20 to itself. Terrible attack. Electro Bullet, even worse, 3 Lightning Energy and a Colorless 80. This attack does 20 to one of your opponent's bench. When really not, if you're attacking with Graveler in this deck, you're having a very bad game. The actual main attacker, though, guys, Alolan Golem GX. So let's take a look. Hefty 250 HP, difficult to one-shot. Hammer in for a Lightning and a DCE does 80 damage with a Choice Band, 110 damage. Not bad, not bad. Now you guys can see me in the reflection. Hey, how you doing? We have Super Electromagnetic Tackle. 2 Lightning and a DCE, 200, and then it does 50 to itself, which you can maybe afford to do this once because you have 250 HP. Heavy Rock GX only does 100, but your opponent can't play any cards in their hand during their next turn. Very annoying. So this deck can slow people down, and you can also one-shot a lot of stuff. If you got a Choice Band attached, you can hit Super Electromagnetic Tackle for 230 damage. You're taking out a lot of different Pokemon in the game right now. That's our main attacker, guys. Main attacker. I'm actually going to leave one up there. That's our main attacker, Alolan Golem. How about up here? Yeah, you can hang out up there. Now, let's say we're in a pinch. We're having a hard time getting our Golems up, but our opponent, they got a lot of energy out on their side. You Ultra Ball for this guy. Tap with Thunder 50 times the amount of energy attached to your opponent's Pokemon. Yeah, great thing about him, his Arrow Trail. You guys are probably familiar with this because Nanelli used to run him, and actually still does a lot. Arrow Trail, when you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench during your turn, you may move any number of Lightning Energy from your other Pokemon to this Pokemon and then make this your active. It's crazy. It can come out the cuts. This is definitely a Pokemon in this deck that you Ultra Ball for mid to late game. Definitely a game changer. Okay, now we have an energy engine. If you guys saw my Raichu GX deck profile, and if you haven't, I highly suggest you go see it. It is an awesome deck. It is so much fun. But the energy engine that we used was Magnezone, and so we're going to take that same engine from Raichu and drag it over here. So we have our 2 copies of Magnemite, our 2 copies of Magneton, and our 1 copy of Magnezone for Magnetic Circuit. As often as you like during your turn before you attack, you may attach a Lightning Energy card from your hand to one of your Pokemon. Very quickly can we power up our Alolan Golems and possibly have 2 powered up ready to go. Now here's the thing, a lot of people are like, why aren't you using the Magnemite from Ultra Prism? Because these guys can at least slow my opponent down with paralysis, and I can actually attack if they're stuck. If I was to throw a bunch of the metal types in here until I got to Magnezone where I put the lightning type, I couldn't do anything. So that's our energy engine. We got one copy of Tapu Koko. I mean, you can use him for Flying Flip. Honestly, I'm just having him in there as a free retreater. Makes retreating easy. 2 copies of Tapu Lele for Wonder Tag. You'll see why. There's one specific supporter that we are playing in this deck that came out in Ultra Prism, and it's awesome. It really helps this deck go. And a copy of Narangu simply for Instruct, so we can draw cards when we play our hands down. Okay, so that's our Pokemon lineup. We'll leave you up there, buddy. Alolan Golem, you are the star of this deck profile. 2 copies of Cynthia. Shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw 6 cards, similar to Shauna, but better. So there's our taste of Ultra Prism right there, at least one of them anyway. So 2 copies of Cynthia, 2 copies of N. Each player shuffles his or her hand into his or her deck, then each player draws a card for each of his or her remaining prize cards. So 2 of those. And 2 copies of Professor Sycamore. Discard your hand and draw 7 cards. It's a 2-2-2 line of draw supporters. 2 copies of Guzma. By now, you guys know what Guzma does. A copy of Pokemon Fan Club. I'm not running Bridget because, yes, Bridget allows me to get 3. There might be times where I want to get Tapu Koko on a GX, and I don't want to bench him because then I can't use the Arrow Trail ability. Or I might need to grab Lele to use Wonder Tag for next turn. So either way, that is why I chose Fan Club. Now here's a supporter that really makes this deck move. Volkner. Search your deck for an item card and a lightning energy and reveal them, put them into your hand, shuffle your deck. I played this deck several times online. I've often found myself with Alolan Geodude and Alolan Golem. Right? I play the supporter, get the rare candy and an energy. Get the rare candy and a Magnezone. It's just getting the rare candy and an energy is so awesome. So Volkner made the cut. And then the last supporter for this deck is Fisherman. Put 4 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your hand. Why? So we can use Magnetic Circuit and get our energy attached to our Alolan Golems. Stat. Okay, you know what? I'm actually going to put you over here too, because you are a star of this deck. Okay, moving on to our items. Yeah, our items are pretty straightforward in this deck. 3 copies of Ultra Ball. Not 4. I've trimmed it down. I don't need 4. 3 seems to work just fine. I get to discard energy, search out my Pokemon, and then I have cards to get the energy back to use Magnetic Circuit to get them right back onto Alolan Golem and be attacking right out the get-go. So, boom! 3 copies of Ultra Ball. 1 copy of Nest Ball, just in case we gotta find that Oranguru, or we real quick gotta get an Alolan Geodude on the bench to start evolving up. 2 copies of Floatstone, because I don't know if I showed you guys or if you caught it, that retreat cost is disgusting on Alolan Golem. So, yeah, gotta use the Floatstones to get him out of the active. Also, that Floatstone helps for Oranguru or Magnezone. Just all around good to have in the deck. 2 copies of Choice Band, up our damage output from 200 to 230, or from 100 to 130, or from 80 to 110. 2 copies of Field Blower to get rid of pesky stuff like stadiums or our opponent's Choice Bands, Fury Belts, Skateboards, Floatstones. You guys know. A copy of Rescue Stretcher to get our Pokemon from our discard back into our deck or 1 into our hand. Might need to get that Lele out of our hand, to Lele to Wonder Tag, to Volkner, Volkner to a Rare Candy to an Energy, and boom. All a chain reaction, right guys? Super Raw, shuffle 3 in any combination of Pokemon and basic energy cards from discard back into your deck. You're mostly doing this for Pokemon, not really for energy, because we have ways of grabbing our energy along with a Fisherman. Energy retrieval. Put 2 basic energy cards from discard pile into your hand. Ways of getting energy out of our deck. Professor's Letter. Search your deck for 2 basic energies and put them into your hand. Eva Soda to help our evolving. And 2 copies of Rare Candy. So it's all about getting our Alolan Golem up as fast as possible. It's not entirely necessary to get Magnezone up. Alolan Golem looks difficult to power up. It's really not, though. I've been able to get him powered up within the 3rd turn generally. So it does really help to go first, though. For sure, with any stage 2 deck, it really helps to go first. And the last part of this deck is our energy count. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 basic lightning energy, and 4 double colorless. So it's a pretty straightforward build, guys. It's very basic, very consistent. This deck is a lot of fun to play. I don't think people gave Alolan Golem a chance when the card first came out, which I don't blame them. Crimson Invasion is a pretty terrible set, but there are nuggets in there. I'm working on a Silvally Nihiligo deck right now, and which sounds weird too, but like I said, there are nuggets in there. Sometimes with these cards, guys, you just have to look a little further. You have to look at what possibilities are out there. I am so sick and tired of pulling Entei. I think it's a terrible card at face value, but I'm sure if I really sit down and think about it, I can get an Entei deck to work. I just don't want to because I think it's a boring Pokemon. But that's the thing, guys, is with Pokemon, you can't just cast out these cards. It's not being good because somebody said that or because it's not being played in the meta. Try it. Try a card that people say, no, it can't be done. And make it happen. Make it happen. Prove them wrong. Alolan Golem is. If I can do it, you guys can too. So get out there, build your decks, build this deck and run rampant over people. It's a lot of fun. Thank you for joining me with this deck profile. We'll see what Nanelli puts together for our next Sunday Showdown. Hopefully you guys enjoyed our last one with Leafeon and Glaceon. Good times coming up on Nanelli and Bash's Pokemon. You guys are awesome. Have a wonderful day. Later.